So, huge privilege to be here amongst so many inspiring people in such a sort of incredible building, incredible city. And what I thought I would do is I thought I'd talk to you a bit about cross-cultural programming. So, you, me, and television. I thought I'd take a look at how shows travel. It's going to be a little bit of a meandering journey, but bear with me, because I've been lucky enough to bounce around the world a bit and see things from different perspectives. So I thought I would give you a personal perspective, both as a viewer and as a program maker. But this isn't just about me, it's also about you, because television is absolutely and will always be a collective enterprise. But let's start with the easy bit, me. So that's not actually me, obviously, but it is where I come from, England. Actually, my grandmother was often compared to Miss Marple. But I lived there until I was 7. And when I was 7, we actually upped sticks and we moved to France, to Brittany. I suspect that my Danish mother was trying to escape maybe this. And we moved to northwest France in Brittany. Now, I spoke not a word of French, and my teachers didn't speak any English. But in true family spirit, it was decided that that wouldn't be a hindrance, and I'd manage to deal with it. So off I went. I made it as far as break time on my first day, and I stood there awkwardly in the playground, watching as my peers slowly gathered around me, observing their first foreigner. Hello, where do you come from? England? Where? England? England? They all went a little bit quiet and had a little huddle. Yes, Benny Hill. Sorry, what are you saying to me? Benny Hill, England, yes? I don't know what you're trying to say to me. That evening, I scurried home. I avoided my parents. I thought I cannot share with them the first deeply disturbing encounter with the French that I've had. I sat down and I switched on the television, and there was the answer. Now, for any of you who haven't had the pleasure of watching this British classic, and I would like to apologize to anyone who this might offend, here's a little clip. Yeah, you kind of get the picture. Well, it seemed that in France, Benny Hill was deemed a totally appropriate show for kids. I hadn't actually seen that show since I was a kid, and it really quite surprised me watching it again. But so in England, Benny Hill for me belonged in that illicit zone of equally risque shows such as Are You Being Served, High Camp, and previously definitely an adult fare. But not in my new home, not in France. But even in painfully badly dubbed French, it didn't stop Benny Hill from building a legion of avid fans, including amongst my playground peers. But I want to be clear here, I was 7 years old. My real concern at the time wasn't whether the French schedulers had completely lost their minds, nor was it the fascinating way in which different cultures can appropriate and recontextualize shows, although I will actually come to that a little bit later. What I was worried about was me. Could this truly be the cultural reference that would determine how my new peers saw me? Most probably thanks to my Danish mum, my feminist roots were already set, and yet this was the cultural export that was to be my baggage. My identity was at stake. So I'd like to flash forward. I said it was going to be a meandering journey. Flash forward to a mere 6 months ago. I had recently joined Cochette to launch their British Factual and Entertainment division, and I was going around meeting commissioners and explaining who we were and presenting our slate. Now, sorry, Abby, but not everyone had heard of us. And despite our brilliant quality of programming and the great success of many of our formats, not every meeting was a shoo-in. And I should just explain that in the UK, these meetings aren't the slick pitches of international sales markets or of America. In England, you're more likely to be invited to pop in for a cup of tea and a natter. And in this case, very long, painfully protracted silence as the commissioner watched my clips with their head in their hands. They do such a lot of talking. why is there so much talking? I think it's a cultural thing. You know, very friendly people. Is it me, or is this just like really complicated? Okay, look, maybe it's a little bit more complex than what we're used to, but Israelis like to sound intelligent. What? I mean, you know, intelligence is a rarely acceptable trait on British television. And why are there so many questions about their mothers? Which I guess has brought me to you, or maybe that's more actually us. Because our individual identities and our wider cultures are an integral part of the way we make and view television. Simply gathered in this room are a vast array of different perspectives. The way you watch the clips that I will show may be entirely different from the person sat next to you. There may be stark cultural contrasts, or there may be mere nuances of identity. But all of that, I think, is a really good thing, because I fundamentally believe that vibrant television is a true reflection of our culture and cultures. And sometimes the most culturally specific show, in this case, what I'm about to show is a very British show, with seemingly niche appeal, can become an international success which surprises us all. The joys of physical comedy. So, classic adventures of Rodney and Delboy in Only Fools and Horses had massive global success from Cyprus to New Zealand, from Serbia to Malta. And I know that personally I've heard calls of Lovely Jubbly in markets across the world. Now, I blame that early Benny Hill experience, but I do think it's really fascinating the way TV travels and the way it can be appropriated and transformed in different cultural contexts and settings. I think one of the great classic story of this has to be Dallas. One of the most successful TV shows in history, and nowhere was it more talked about than in Ceausescu's communist Romania. Now, believe it or not, Dallas, the epitome of 1980s capitalism, became a runaway hit when it was first broadcast there in 1979. Presumably, the portrayal of the anti-hero J.R. Ewan as a despicable oil baron convinced the government censors it must be anti-capitalist. The popularity of the series meant that huge billboards were erected of JR. Now, obviously, this is post-communism, but there were also billboards during the regime. Such was the massive impact of this show that apparently when Larry Hagman visited Romania some years later, he was treated like a hero. And in an interview, he said, people from Bucharest came up to me in the street with tears in their eyes saying, JR saved our country. But having said that, as we all know, some shows just don't travel and culturally at all. And I'm going to share one of my personal experiences of this with you. I'd been having a great time in America making shows like Junkyard Wars and Perfect Match for RDF Media in New York and LA. But I decided it was time for a bit of a change. So I turned down Stephen Lambert's offer to take Wife Swap to the States and moved to Afghanistan to set up a film school for Afghan women. This was in 2003, 2004. As part of my introduction, I decided to show them a show that I'd made in the UK called Airport. In the UK episode, which aired to 13 million viewers, those were the days, I had particular success with a story of two beautiful Newfoundland dogs who were in transit. As a member of the most dog-loving nation, I felt pretty confident that this was going to be a winner. Jamila, Shakiba and co sat watching, and I realized it was in mortified silence. Amelia Hann, what's wrong with him? That's disgusting. Does he let the dogs lick his face? Oh, I feel sick. No, you can't. Does this man actually even sleep with dogs? You've got to tell him to stop. You've got to help him. But let's pause for a minute and ask ourselves, should a show travel? Should it appeal to everyone? I would like to show you a show, the last series I made as an executive producer for Channel 4 called The Undateables. The unlikely subject matter is that of people with disabilities and conditions finding love for the very first time. It proved to be a massive surprise success, both in terms of ratings, in terms of the noise that was generated, and as we heard from Virginia yesterday, it's now hugely important in terms of your social media, and also the critics.
Looking for love can be tricky.
I just love to have a girlfriend because I've got such a massive amount of love to give.
It's basically the answer to happiness, isn't it?
But some people find it harder than others.
I just don't want to be a 40-year-old virgin.
Guys want sex with me to see if they can spin me on their cock.
You have to be careful dating websites. It could be some fat 60-year-old Nigerian sex killer.
So now, with the help of dating agencies from around the country,
She does want tall, dark and handsome. I don't see how you could live without love. You need love and you need to feel loved.
these extraordinary singletons are throwing themselves into the world of dating.
Oh my gosh! So that's the most kind of, inappropriate twitch, especially with the whole dating thing.
We'll share their highs.
I'll blow you a kiss.
Thank you.
And their lows.
I think dogs are better company than women anyway. Even though I'm allergic to them, I'd just like a nice little min pin or a Bichon Frise.
On their quest for love.
Got me often.
How many girlfriends have you had?
Aha, a gentleman never tells.
You're going on a date with a stretch guy. Be warned.
Thank you. Internationally, the reaction to this series I thought was fascinating. Scandinavian countries immediately snapped it up. Thank you, Scandinavia. Other countries considered it nervously. And then there were certain countries that just looked at us as if we had gone completely mad. In fact, there was one country that will remain nameless, then the reaction was, what? But we put those people in institutions, not on television. I would like to show you a second clip of from this series, which is basically where Michael, who has autism, is waiting to hear whether Kirsty, who he's fallen for quite seriously, wants to go on a date with him.
26-year-old Michael is looking for everlasting love. His autism means he finds it hard to deal with the rules of dating and can rush things when he meets someone he likes. He's fallen for a girl called Kirsty, who he met at speed dating, and he's waiting for a call from the agency to see if she wants to go on a date.
Well, hopefully it's got to be good news because I want to hear some good news. The last thing I'd want is to have my heart broken. I liked Kirsty and she says I like you too. Hello?
Hello, Michael. It's Caroline. I'm ringing from Stars in the Sky.
Yes. Is there anything you'd want to update me about?
I've just been in touch with Kirsty, but it turns out that Kirsty has actually decided that she wouldn't be able to come on this occasion.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, she really liked you and everything, but then she just thought maybe she might be looking for someone that is up to maybe 21 years.
21 years, well, yeah.
But other than that, she thought you were really, really super cool. So I'll see you soon, Michael.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye for now, Caroline. Bye. Oh. so difficult.
How does it make you feel about finding a girlfriend?
It's kind of like I'm going up and down like a yo-yo. It's all these emotions.
Is that difficult to deal with?
It is difficult to deal with. Yeah, I think dogs are better company than women anyway. Even though I'm allergic to them, I'd like a nice little min pin or a Bichon Frise that's hypoallergenic. Could take them on walks. Until they finally pass away and I'll be on my own. Can't bear it. Can't really bear it at all. Might as well accept that I'm a loner and in my thoughts. Always have been, always will be.
I think part of the magic of The Undateables was that when we watched it, we felt such deep empathy for the characters that all the differences were kind of brushed aside. And even more than that, I think we sort of felt like we were watching ourselves in them. And if we followed this, when I was reading Twitter, and I was following Twitter as it was going out, it was really interesting, the amount of people who were empathizing very deeply with the contributors who were on the screen. And they were really referencing themselves in the show. And I think that's really significant because I think that there is no doubt that we use television as a mirror on ourselves. We use it as a mirror in which to see who we are and also to see who we want to be. And nowhere do you see this more clearly than in the brilliantly postmodern, it's my favorite show at the moment, and entertaining Gogglebox, produced by Studio Lambert for Channel 4. And in the show, we simply watch viewers watching the best of this week's television. Here's a clip. Oh, and when you're watching it, it's like just be aware of your reactions to watching it, because I think that it's just such a sort of it's such a sort of reflection of how important it is to feel emotionally engaged with what we see on the screen.
The Tapper family.
Did you hear me tell her she wasn't having friends over?
Mum Nikki does judo. She's a blue belt.
Sorry, we're not discussing it, we're watching this.
BBC Two's new idea for Monday nights was The Midwives, Series 2.
Hey.
I'm quite sure that this midwife programme is at least the 5th of its kind.
There we go.
It's a perennial theme, isn't it? It's something that everybody can relate to because everybody has been born and everybody knows.
But nobody wants to see birth.
Why not?
Because it's so gross.
This week's episode focused on pregnant women who have serious health problems. Alison, who has a life-threatening heart condition, has just given birth to a healthy baby girl.
Oh.
I'd like to have another one, just have that feeling when they put that baby on you.
No.
I feel a bit sick.
What, you feel sick? Okay, it's okay.
Really ill, like my head hurts.
Such an amazing thing to do, though, isn't it?
Something bad's going to happen.
Shall I take a baby? Yeah? Okay.
What?
I'm worried now.
What's going on?
Mum!
Oh no, what's going to happen?
Alison's blood pressure has dropped to nearly half the normal level. The anaesthetic team give her a drug to bring her blood pressure back up.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, please be okay, please be okay.
Quick,
please
take
be
the
okay.
baby.
Oh God, please be okay. No, they can't possibly show anything that's going to be horrible. Please, God.
Alison's heart rate suddenly accelerates.
Oh God.
Oh my God, please don't tell me something's going to happen to her.
147.
That's not good, is it?
We're supposed to be 97.
She is checked by the cardiac anaesthetist.
No, they'll sort it out.
Right.
right at the end, her heart rate became very fast. So we got her reviewed by the cardiac anaesthetist. She seems very happy with Alison.
Oh, thank God.
They wouldn't put it on if something God forbid happened to
It's
her.
the music.
Yeah, they would.
The music made it sound. The music made it sound more dramatic.
Tense.
Oh, it's scary, isn't it?
Oh, God.
It's too stressful.
It's a stressful time for you, Biz.
Oh, it's so stressful because you like relive it all.
Hello, Carly. Hello, I'm Ruth. I'm here.
I love that show for many reasons, including the fact that it reminds me why I got into television in the first place, that real fundamental joy of great storytelling. But the main thing I love about Gogglebox is the way that it shows us the viewers engaging with their television so vociferously. There are fully blown rows amongst families, there are members disagreeing about shows, the characters within them, but also, as you saw there, actually they're criticising the producers of the shows and challenging the producers of the shows as well, which I just think is just so great. Anyway, doesn't all of this leave many of us in this room with a bit of a dilemma? Because if at its most important, vibrant television is a true reflection of our different cultures, and if sometimes seemingly culturally specific shows suddenly become runaway hits, and international hits then get reinterpreted locally in completely new ways, and other shows don't travel well at all, and meanwhile individuals shout at the television because they see it as a reflection of themselves and who they want to be, if this crazy cultural cacophony is what we live in, how do you make a guaranteed international hit? And I think this is an important question, and I'm often asked whether there is a formula for format success, especially in the context of emerging markets and the globalization of our industry. Well, I've thought long and hard about this, and I've got to say the short answer of it is, I think that quite simply, you just don't. There are no guarantees. The best shows out there never started life with a guarantee. They were never safe prospects. Brilliant television comes from your heart. It comes from your soul, and it comes from who you are. And like life, it's an adventure in which you never have any real guarantees. We were privileged to have a really inspirational audience with President Shimon Peres day before yesterday, in which he was speaking in a wider context, and actually what he said was that the more it is provincial, the more it is global. Well, I think this is equally, if not even more true for television. Great local television or great local shows can be great global shows. And we need to look to our cultures for inspiration in creating this great television. I don't think it is a matter of aping existing formats or joining some sort of global language, attempting to join some global language. I believe that if we do that, the roots of our creativity will simply wither away. And if television is a reflection of culture, it will shapeshift, like culture does, as it gets influenced by other cultures and by the times. Diversity is our richness, and embracing that fact, I think we will deliver vibrant television that is a true reflection of our cultures and an engaging life. Thank you. Or toda.